Krishna, is it working? Hare Krishna, Swagatam, welcome everyone for the Harinama 24-hour Kirtan, and thank you all for coming, and Haribol. We're also remembering our fellow devotees in Bangladesh who are suffering some racial discrimination, religious discrimination. So I've been asked to give a talk about the holy names, or Krishna, Harinama Katha. What are these names that we're singing? So I have a surprise for you today. Oh, a very special surprise. You won't believe it till you hear it. So we'll sing the Prabhupada's song, which he sings before all his classes. We have another mic, only this mic. Jai Radha Madhava, everyone say, Jai Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha, Giri Bharadari, Yashoda Nandana, Raja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Chira, Vanachari. You can put that one here, on this side, so my accordion picks it up. And put it on this side. Yeah, you move this time. Prabhupada says this song is a picture of Vrindaban. Malati was there, I know, when Prabhupada first sang this song in Gorakhpur. The Gorakhpur Press in UP. You know North UP? Gorakhpur? So Prabhupada first sang this song. It's a song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Prabhupada says a picture of Vrindaban. When Prabhupada sang this song, he becomes stunned. He was singing. And the Radha Madhav deities were there with the devotees. Prabhupada had Radha Madhav deities with him, and they were later put in Mayapur, the small deities in Mayapur. So this is a very wonderful song, and everyone was stunned. The Prabhupada was stunned, and then Prabhupada came to his external senses and said, "What did he say, Malasi?" He said, "Chant Hare Krishna." Let's go down here. This is working? Can you turn this on, please? Turn it on. For full effect. Doesn't sound weird. Turn this up, please. Jaya Madhava Vrindavan. Not working. Should we face that way? in the background, Swami. Srila Prabhupada Ki. As confounded baby, founder Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnu Bhat Paramahansa Parikakacharya Astami Swami Sisna. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Anattakoti Vaishnava in the Ki. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaurabhakta Ki, Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Gopinath Kund, Giri Govardhana Ki, Asura Vrindaban Dhama Ki, Amrit Maya Padama Ki, Raghunath Pradama Ki, New Vrindaban Dhama Ki. Jamuna Maika Maiki, Ohai Maiki, Sri Trosi Devi Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Sri Harinama Sankirtan Ki, Sankirtan Yagya Ki, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki, Transcendental Sound Distribution Ki, Transcendental Cow Protection Ki, 24-hour Kirtan Ki, Bangladesh Devotees Protest Ki, Go Premanandi, all glories to the Samuel devotees, all glories to the Samuel devotees, all glories to the Samuel devotees, glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, glories to Srila Prabhupada. So this is a song, I think nobody's heard this song before, so we're going to introduce it here in the 24-hour Kirtan. It's a very unusual song, and it's only 16 words. It's in the songbook. It's in the Vaishnav songbook, this song. Sometimes it's called a hymn. Sometimes called a prayer. And it's called the Maha Mantra. Maha Mantra King. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Ram.
Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Oh, you learned it very quickly. You heard it somewhere before. Okay, now, due to the technical advancements of modern science, we can hear Prabhupada's purport from Srila Prabhupada himself. Who wants to hear? And then I'll try and say a few words after hearing what Prabhupada has to say. Okay, I hope it works now. Oops.
The transcendental vibration established by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the sublime method for reviving our transcendental consciousness. As living spiritual souls, we are all originally Krishna conscious entities. But due to our association with matter from time immemorial, our consciousness is now adulterated by the material atmosphere. The material atmosphere in which we are now living is called Maya or illusion. Maya means that which is not. And what is the illusion? The illusion is that we are all trying to be lords of the material nature, while actually we are under the grip of our stringent laws. When a servant artificially tries to imitate the all-powerful master, it is called illusion. We are trying to exploit the resources of material nature, but actually we are becoming more and more entangled in our complexities. Therefore, although we are engaged in a hard struggle to conquer nature, we are ever more dependent on her. The illusory struggle against material nature can be stopped at once by revival of our eternal Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the transcendental process for reviving the original pure consciousness. By chanting this transcendental vibration, we can cleanse away all misgivings within our hearts. The basic principle of such misgivings is the false consciousness that I am the Lord of all I survey. Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. This consciousness is the original natural energy of the living entity. In the beginning, there may be not the presence of all transcendental ecstasies, which are 8 in numbers. They are being stopped as through dumb perspiration, standing of all hairs on the body, dislocation of voice, trembling of the body, crying in ecstasy, trance. But there is no doubt that chanting for a while takes one immediately to the spiritual platform, and one shows the first symptoms of this in the urge of dance along with the chanting of the mantra. We have seen this practically. Even a child can take part in this chanting and dancing. The material energy called Maya is also one of the multi-energies of the Lord, and we, the living entities, are also energy, marginal energy of the Lord. These 3 words, namely Hara, Krishna and Rama, are the transcendental seeds of the Mahamantra. The chanting is a spiritual call for the Lord and His energy to give protection to the conditioned soul. The chanting is exactly like the genuine cry of a child for its mother's presence. No other means of spiritual realization is as effective in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy as the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki Om Ganati Mirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Prakshura Jena Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manubhistam Sapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrindavan Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Prabhupada explained everything very nicely. That transcendental vibration established. This is a vibration, and transcendental vibration established by the chanting of Hare Krishna. This is a sublime method for reviving our original Krishna consciousness. So this is important understanding of what we are. What am I? Who am I? I'm part of Krishna. Jivara Sarupavai Krishna Radhishadas. And Krishna says, Mamaivam Som Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanat. I'm Krishna's eternal fragmental part and parcel. And I'm servant, just like my finger is servant of my hand, and my hand is servant of the body and the stomach, and so it all works together. So our original consciousness is to serve Krishna. Transcendental vibration established by the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Sublime method for reviving our original Krishna consciousness. As living spiritual souls, we're eternally Krishna conscious entities, but due to our consciousness, due to our our consciousness is now polluted by the material atmosphere. So the material atmosphere, what is the material atmosphere? The material atmosphere in which we are now living is called Maya. Maya means illusion. Maya means that which is not. And what is that illusion? The illusion is that we're also trying to be the lords of material nature, when actually we're under the grip of her stringent laws. So this is very important today. You can see the modern man, you just see on the news outlets how man is trying to conquer nature. You've got Jeff Bezos, he's trying to send a rocket into space. It only goes for 8 minutes and it costs like $1 billion. What a waste of money. You know? Prabhupada was there in Tittenhurst and in John Lennon's estate. Malati was there also, and they showed on the TV man's first walk on the moon. Walking on the moon. Prabhupada, come and see. Prabhupada, come and see. They're walking on the moon. Prabhupada said, it's not the moon. It's not the moon. They may have gone somewhere, but it wasn't the moon. Prabhupada could understand immediately. So the tricks of the scientists, is that they make us think that we're conquering material nature. This is a very important point. All of us have been brainwashed by the scientists. But Prabhupada says they're rascals. Why they're rascals? Because they're teaching us to believe in our imperfect senses, and they're making so many experiments, looking at the stars, looking at the viruses, looking at the ice caps melting, looking at the volcanoes, looking at so many things. But the problem is our senses are imperfect, we're likely to make mistakes, we're likely to cheat, we're likely to be illusioned. So how can we get perfect knowledge from these scientists? How can we believe in them? How can we trust them? How can we trust the leaders who are following these scientists? And they control the media also. This is a disaster. Prabhupada says, if you control the media, you can convince the people of anything by propaganda. So, well, who do we believe? Who do we believe? We believe in Krishna. We believe in Krishna. Arjuna was confused. He didn't know what to do. Kapanya dosa pahatas prabhava. So Krishna says, you're speaking in big words, but you're actually a fool. Natvevaham jatuna samnatvam nemijanadipa. Nachaiva bhavishyam. Never was there a time when you did not exist, nor you nor all these kings, nor shall any of us cease to be. We're eternal beings. These bodies are just like clothes. We're changing our clothes, we're changing our bodies just like clothes. Even in this life, from childhood to youth to old age. What happened to my hat? I brought my hat just to show you. But anyway, this is the point. We are not these bodies, we're eternal spirit souls. But the modern scientists, the modern education, they don't know this. So this is called the material energy. We think that we can conquer material nature, we exploit the resources of material nature, but we're under the grip of her stringent laws. How can we exploit nature when we have to breathe air? How can we exploit nature when we have to walk on the earth? How can we exploit nature when we have to eat food 3 times a day? How can we exploit nature? It's impossible, because we're under the grip of nature. Just like a baby, little baby in the mother's arms, sometimes fighting the mother. Fighting them. What can the baby do? Baby's helpless. It can't escape the mother. Without the mother, your baby can't do anything. And yet the baby's trying, you know. So that's what we're like, under the control of Mother Nature. But we're trying to control her. How foolish. We didn't decide which family we were going to take birth in. I was born in Birmingham, UK. I was a war baby. I'm a war baby. I'm a fighter. War baby. 1945, yeah, just before the end of the war. I didn't choose. Nobody chose. We were forced by material nature. Kamana Daiva Netrena. You know, this is what the Vedic. We're forced to take birth, and we're forced to die. So where's the choice? Where's the question of conquering material nature? These guys like Jeff Bezos and other people, Bill Gates, they're fooling themselves. They have to die. But this is called Maya. Where Prabhupada says, when a servant artificially tries to imitate the all-powerful master, this is called illusion. Just like Prabhupada gives a story. Okay, this nice story, little example. You're working in an office, right? You're making the tea for the boss. The boss likes his cup of tea, or whatever it is he has. The boss has a big desk, and a beautiful computer, a beautiful secretary, beautiful car, and you're just making the tea, and you're only getting a few paisa. You're hardly getting any money at all. So, and he's getting millions. So what will you think? What might cross your mind? Prabhupada gives this example to help us understand illusion. What might we think? Huh? I want to become boss. Yeah, I want to sit on his seat. So when the boss is out of the room, I try sitting on his seat. And he comes in. No. Okay, you're fired. So this mentality, it means we're fired. There's no place for us in Krishna Loka. Everybody loves Krishna, everyone serves Krishna. So there's a place for us in Maya, in Maya's kingdom. So that's where we are, changing our body. So Prabhupada is saying, you know, we're becoming more and more involved in her complexities. So that, you know, so many things are happening now because we're not Krishna conscious. You know, just you drive around, there's so many traffic jams, there's so many flyovers, so many cars, and you know, skyscrapers. They're not necessary actually for human life. I was just thinking, because when we were driving out of Pittsburgh, you know, what is this traveling? Prabhupada says this is restlessness. Restlessness is caused by our sex desire. We think we will enjoy more somewhere else, and we have to move. But actually in India, still today, people don't move out of their village. Hands up those who know villages in India. Anyone from India? They hardly move from the village. You get everything in the village. You get your sabji, you get your rice, you get your doctor, you got your temple, everything. You can do it locally. You don't need to travel. Well, we've invented a crazy situation where we've made an artificial standard of living, and it's very difficult to stop. So Prabhupada didn't try and stop it. Prabhupada said, therefore, although we have we have a strong desire to overcome material nature, we're ever more dependent on her. This illusory struggle to conquer material nature can be stopped at once by revival of our original Krishna consciousness. So that's what we're doing when we're chanting Hare Krishna. We're reviving our original Krishna consciousness. Our original Krishna consciousness is, Lord Chaitanya is the person, the incarnation, who we're dependent on for this chanting Hare Krishna. Sometimes we think, well, there are 10 offenses against the holy name. We all know the 10 offenses. Number 1,
To blaspheme the devotees of Deity.
blaspheme the devotees. 2,
The names of the demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, equal to or independent of holy names of Lord Krishna.
and consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Indra, and so on, be equal to or independent of the names of Lord. 3, Mataji, to disobey the order of the spiritual master. 4, blaspheme the Vedic literatures in pursuance of the Vedic version. Stop looking at mobile phone. 5, consider to make some mundane. 6, to make some mundane interpretation of the holy name of the Lord. 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. 8, to consider chanting Hare Krishna one of the pious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas and fruitive activities. Karma Kanda, go to heaven, get a high standard of life, pass my exam, get good health. This is what we're thinking. Oh, I'm doing some good deed. But this is not the real meaning of the holy name. 9, to instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. And 10, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name, to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It's also an offense to inattentive while chanting, blah, 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 blah. But can we do it? Can we avoid all these 10 offenses? How can we avoid all these 10 offenses? By Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we heard it. After Mangalarti today, we heard how Lord Chaitanya, we must chant his mantra. Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasati, Go Bhakta Vrinda. Before we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and we can chant this Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, and we can also chant Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra. So this is my personal feeling. I'm not laying down the law or anything, but I always think it's funny, at these Kirtan Melas, you're not chanting Shri Krishna Chaitanya first. Prabhupada says so many times, before you chant Hare Krishna, chant, because Lord Chaitanya is 100% merciful. Panchatattva, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda is Balaram, and then you've got Advaita Acharya, he's Lord Shiva. If you worship Lord Shiva, you've got him there. Come on, he's Advaita Acharya. Sadashiva. Then you've got Radharani's there as Gadadhar in a male form. And then you've got Srivas Thakur's Narmuni. And there's many, many more also. So they all appeared 500 years ago in near Mayapur, West Bengal. And they started the Sankirtan movement to awaken people's consciousness in this age of Kali. Now Lord Chaitanya said, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nivapanam, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Cleanse the mirror of the heart. And the heart is like a mirror, it's covered with dust. Bhava Mahadavagni Nivapanam. And this birth and death is disease. You have to cure this disease. The real disease is not COVID-19 or cancer. Or actually, I did research, you might be interested to know, in the statistics. And my aspiring disciple did research. And every minute of the day, approximately 250 people die. Did you know that? 250 people die every minute on this planet. And if you take away the abortions, it comes to about 120 per minute. It's horrible, but I'm just saying it. But then, what's the next one? Cardiac disease. Next one, cardiac's about 30 per minute. Cancer about 20 per minute dying. Down. How many for COVID? 7. They call it a pandemic. This is a scientist. Hoax. They sell more vaccines. Seems like that. According to 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, is Ugra Kamana. The demons, the asuras, rakshasas, the rascals. Prabhupada call them politely rascals. Rascals. Because, you know, just like children, they don't know better. Foolish. So that they invent ways to hurt people and to exploit people and to destroy the world. Ugra Karmana. So anyway, so the point is that the real problem is death. Bhava Mahadavagni Nivapana. Bhava Mahadava. This is a blazing fire of material existence. Bhava Mahadavagni Nivapana. So that this is the real problem. Don't think the real problem is this disease or that disease, or this war or this, you know, problem, or even the, you know, with all due respect, the real problem is death. Now, how are we going to solve it? That's the real question of intelligent human beings. I don't want to die. I don't want to grow old. I don't want diseases. I don't want to be born. Actually, it's a miserable situation, you know, in the womb for so many months, packed in there. Prabhupada said, like a, you know, plastic bag, you're stuck there, you can't breathe, suffocating. There's worms also. So what to do, you know? The thing is, don't take birth. That's the real problem. As soon as you're born, you have to die, isn't it? If you weren't born, you wouldn't have to die. So Bhava Mahadavagni Nivapanam. So this Sankirtan movement is chanting the holy names. Shreya Kairava Chandrikavitaranam Vijaypaduji. Lord Chaitanya, this is the first prayer of the Shishtastikam. It's the prime benediction, Shreya Kairava, like the rising moon of good fortune for humanity. Shreya Kairava Chandrikavitaranam Vijaypadu Jivan is the life of the mother of all transcendental knowledge. People are so much in ignorance. You know, on the Harinama Ruchi party, and we see this every day. And we don't think that we're great, but we just think, you know, we're doing our duty, spread the holy name. So people are sitting there in the restaurant with a knife and fork and eating their pizza, and probably has meat on their pizza, or either eating their steak and chips or fish and chips, and they've got their wine and their beer, and they're thinking they're okay, Jack. But actually, they're not. You can see they're not happy. They're not smiling. Half the time they're not smiling because he's having to pay $20 for that pizza or $50 for that pizza. He's wondering how when my money's going to run out, and my hotel bill is, how am I going to pay my hotel bill? You know, so how can you be happy in this material world? You have to pay for your happiness. It's not natural. You have to work hard for your happiness. Queen Kunti said, Bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kama kamabi. This is, we have material desires, avidya karma, in ignorance. And we're bound up by those. Klishyamananam, bhavesya klishyamanam. We're tied hand and foot in this world of birth and death. We're not free. We're not free. But Queen Kunti says, others say that you appeared, Lord Krishna. Krishna, you appeared, my dear Lord Krishna. My nephew, Lord Krishna, now going back to Dwarka. Queen Kunti is the aunt of Krishna. She says, others say that you appeared. Why? You appeared to revive. Shravanam smaranam ahani. Karishyan iti keshana. That's why you appeared, Krishna, to awaken this so that we can get to hear and chant about you, your holy names. So that's why Lord Chaitanya appeared. After Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, and Lord Chaitanya appeared, and in order to personally, Krishna himself, be personally reviving this chanting of Krishna's name, this Mahamantra. So, yeah, so important. What we're doing in this Hare Krishna movement is so important. It's the only way to save the world. When Lord Chaitanya was a boy, his father died, Jagannath Mishra, passed away. So he went to Gaya. Who knows Gaya in Bihar? Anyone been to Gaya? You go there when your father passes away, you do pinda. You make some little cake and by the river there, and then you put the cake on the Vishnupad, on the big black footprint of Lord Vishnu, millions of years old. So there he met his spiritual master. Who was his spiritual master? Ishwara Puri. And Ishwara Puri Maharaj was his father's friend. His father's friend. And actually stayed in his father's house, and he saw this little boy, Nimai Pandit. He was a genius. There's stories about that. But anyway, Nimai Pandit, Lord Chaitanya, when he was a boy, thought, I must take initiation now from Ishwara Puri. I love him. He's the only person that could defeat me in Sanskrit. I was a world champion, but he defeated me. So you know what Ishwara Puri said? It was the first thing he said to him. Murkatumi Naivadantadikara. He was a top scholar in the whole of it. He said, you are a fool. You are a fool. You have no right to study all these Vedic scriptures and grammar and everything. Because this is Leela, you know. And then he said, Krishna mantra hati habe samsara mochan. Krishna nam haiti pabe Krishna charan. By chanting this Maha Mantra, he told him to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This mantra will save you from repetition of birth and death. Samsara mochan. That's what we want, isn't it? Samsara mochan. Why stick around? You know. Well, Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj used to say, if you go to the toilet, the charpi, or you go to behind a tree, some people go behind a tree, you don't stick around, you get out of that place. So we come to this material world, it's like a toilet, to do our business and finish our business, go back to Godhead. So, Krishna Nam, Haiti Pabe, Krishna Charan. We get the lotus feet of Krishna. So this Maha Mantra is so important. Narad Muni asked also, actually, then Ishwara Puri told Lord Chaitanya, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, Kalo nascheva, 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 Gatira anyata. In this age of Kali, there's no other way for God realization but the chanting of the holy names, chanting of the holy names, chanting of the holy names. Three times he said, not by karma, not by jnana, not by yoga, No way. Because we're too far gone. So when we go to these people, we're going down the street, we're having a big kirtan, and Vishnu John's pumping our heavy rhythm. I'm trying to play a funny tune, and we're singing Hare Krishna. Then what do they do first? Some of them start tapping their feet, and some of them start clapping. Get them clapping, or nodding their head, or the children. So it's so infectious. The Sankirtan movement is so infectious. Even the most, everybody can hear. That's the point. Even if some people say, I'm not chant. In South America often they say, because they're thinking, I'm Christian. I'm not chant. You're like this. And some people pretend that, they look the other way, or pretend they're eating their pizza or steak or something. But then, if they show any sign, then we say, clap. We get them to clap. And then we hold the mic. Can you say, Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Or if they're a little baby there, can you say Hare Krishna? Can you say Hare Krishna? You get them to chant somehow or other. So, and then, that's not the end. By the time they finish the mantra, you put the arm out. And a good percentage, I would say, because especially if they've taken a little beer or wine or something, they're ready for the dance. So you can get them to dance also. And when they've been through all that, and we move on, then the devotee comes with a book. Woo! And so this is a process, Sankirtan process. Very nice process. Very nice. The Sankirtan and the books can go together very nicely. Very nicely. I remember when I was on Oxford Street first I was going on Harinama in Oxford Street. And Shamasundar, he was a GBC then. And he was told, you've got to distribute so many magazines. He had 25,000 in London or something. And Prabhupada was getting on his case, you've got to distribute these magazines. So I was going to, we had a Harinam party. And one thing I didn't want to do was distribute any books. I didn't want to be like a Jehovah's Witness or something, with some leaflet, some fanatic, But anyway, I liked chanting. And then Shamasundar, he took one magazine, he put it in my hand. He said, distribute it. Like, what could I do? I couldn't escape. I wanted to, but I thought, no, I must try. So I was standing on the street, Kirtan party was going on. I offered the book, and then lo and behold, this person took the magazine and said, how much? And I sold the magazine. It was amazing. Because of the power of the holy name also. It really helped. So Chaitradapa Namajnam Baba Mahadevagam Shayakari Sandikavana Vijabhara Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. These are the Sanskrit prayers of Lord Chaitanya, Shastastikam prayers. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pradipadam Punamitas. The life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. The soul, because we're part and parcel of Krishna, we want Krishna. That's our original urge. Freud is writing books and saying, the psychoanalysts, they say, original urge is sex. Now that's a material urge, but that urge is a perverted reflection of our original desire to serve and love Krishna. It's what Prabhupada is teaching us. Yeah. Anandamaya Vyasat. We are made for loving Krishna. But this love of Krishna is being blocked. Anyabilasita shunyam kama jnana anavritam. Our love of Krishna, our pure devotional service, is blocked by this fruitive desire, avidya karma. We're thinking with this body, I must enjoy these senses, this is me. So how to stop this disease? This identification with this body. That's this chanting. So this is where we go down the street and we spread the holy names. And it's powerful. This is called yagya. Yagya sankirtana praya yajanti hi sumadesa. This is Lord Chaitanya's mission. Krishna vanam chisha krishnam sango pangasya pajanam yagya sankirtana. What is yagya? Yagya means to please Vishnu. Yagya by Vishnu. Unless we, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, what's that verse? Anyway, karma bandhana. Unless we serve Krishna, we serve Maya. And we're bound to birth and death and birth and death again. This is our problem. Loka karma bandhana. So what to do? We must become devotees. We must chant Hare Krishna and spread this movement. That's the only solution in Kali Yuga. Krite tadyayato Vishnam. In Satya Yuga, which is the first of these yugas in this 4,300,000 years cycle. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. First is meditation, jayato Vishnu. Then people used to live for 100,000 years. Like Valmiki Muni, he meditated for 60,000 years. 60,000 years. And then Tretayam Yajato Maka. In Treta Yuga, which lasted for approximately 1,800,000 years, then people used to live for 10,000 years. And they used to do big fire sacrifices. They used to have big arrangements. Thousands of people used to come, and everything made of gold, and thousands of brahmanas, big arenas like football match. And people used to see the devatas. They used to see Lord Shiva, Indra. They all used to appear to the common man. The Rajasuya Yagya, this Yagya, that Yagya. But we can't do that in this age. We don't have enough money. We don't live long enough. Even the sages of Naimisharanya were performing 1,000-year sacrifice. Now, who lives for 1,000 years? Nobody. Dwapariyam Paryacharyam. In Dwapara Yuga, the previous age, then people used to build big temples like Jagannath Puri, Sri Rangam, Kumbhakarnam, and so many big temples in India. Thousands they don't know how old they are actually. They don't know how old they are. That was from Dwapara Yuga. But Kalotas Dari Kirtanam. There's only one way in Kali Yuga. We're so short-lived. So this is the best thing, this Sankirtan, this chanting of the holy names is the best thing. Prabhupada's mercy. Prabhupada did the most wonderful thing for humanity. You can't imagine what he did. We can still trying to figure out who Prabhupada was, how he could have done what he did in his old age, to take this holy name to the West. And where people were, needing it. People really needed it because people were so frustrated, especially us young people, so-called hippies. Prabhupada first went to Butler, Pennsylvania, but they were very sophisticated people, retired people. He was a curiosity. Then he went to Riverside, New York. Has anyone seen that place? Dr. Mishra's studio? I've been there on a 12th story. There you can see the place where Prabhupada was. He had to walk through the snow. He was living in somewhere else. He had to walk through the snow, and he was cooking for Dr. Mishra. You can read in Prabhupada Leelamrita, these amazing Leelas of Srila Prabhupada. And then somebody said, because nobody was really interested, they were doing yoga for health, and Prabhupada was trying to get them to chant, but Dr. Mishra was impersonalist. He was nice, but he didn't believe that Krishna was a person. So then they said, Prabhupada, you go to Lower East Side, where the young people are, dropping out from the Vietnam War. They're taking drugs. They don't know, they're leaving college, leaving their parents, completely fed up, desperate. A desperate generation, confused. completely confused, taking LSD, thinking that LSD is God. They asked Prabhupada, why are you stopping your disciples taking LSD and drugs if you haven't taken them yourself? Prabhupada said, all my disciples have stopped taking it. Why should I take it? By chanting Hare Krishna, they stopped taking drugs. They stopped having illicit sex. Stopped eating meat. Stopped gambling. Yeah. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna. Why? Anandam buddhivardhanam. Because they had a higher taste. How could I have given up my drugs unless I tasted a higher taste? Just like if you have a $5 problem, you're worried. I don't have $5. If somebody gives you $1,000, you don't care about your $5 problem. So if you have Hare Krishna mantra, Ananda Mudivara, Pratipadam Punamritasvaram, you're getting a taste for something. The soul is always anxious for that long lost taste. We've long lost Krishna, our long lost friend. It's where our real home. That's where we belong. That's where we came from. And that's where we've got to go back to. Prabhupada always said, chant Hare Krishna, follow the 4 rules and regulations, and go back home, back to Godhead. It's simple, our movement's simple. Simple for the simple. But there's also some but. What's the time? Oh no, I'm overshooting the mark. Time for prasada. So anyway, sorry about that. Time for questions. Srila Prabhupada ki. We can have a few minutes for questions, Prabhu? Because we're desperate for prasadam. Anyone have any question? Malachi, you'd like to add something? Please.
Hare Krishna, thank you for a good old-fashioned class. So, you were mentioning the incident where Prabhupada saw the moon landing, and you mentioned I was there, which I was.
Yeah.
So, having been there, I have to correct the rest of your story.
Okay, go on.
It's not accurate. We were no longer at Tittenhurst. We had left Lennon's. And Prabhupada was staying in a rented flat on Baker Street next to Madame Tussauds.
Oh, sorry, I always thought he was Tittenhurst.
And I was coming in from Golders Green. A few of us had a flat out there, the ones who were married and had kids. So we were exiled to Golders Green because the temple itself was still being worked on. It wasn't a safe environment to have a kid, especially little tiny ones. So I would take the subway in and morning and afternoon, cook the morning breakfast offering for him and afternoon lunch. And it was for our standards at that time, it was quite a nice building. Carpeted hallway, elevator.
Where was it?
It was on Baker Street. Next
to Baker Street, right?
Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. So, one morning when I went up, there were 2 things. One was, the carpet floor, you wouldn't hear footsteps. And I kept a little table outside the door to put the milk bottles on and receive the new ones. In those days, the milk was delivered by a milkman, even if you lived in an apartment building, and he would bring milk in glass bottles. So he'd leave the old bottle from the day before and got a new one. So I came and I noticed the milk bottle, but the door was ever so slightly ajar. It wasn't firmly closed. For some reason that made me feel a little like trepidation, like something wasn't normal. And I started to push the door slightly, but I hadn't opened it, and I heard Prabhupada's voice call, "Malati, come in. We're watching TV. We're going to watch them go to the moon. They say they're going to the moon." So the flat why was there a TV? It was a furnished flat. So there was a lot of furniture, including a TV in there, and we pushed it all into what would normally be called the dining room, because we didn't use it. But when I came in, the devotees were there, a very handful of the current servant, and Dhananjaya. And there was TV was on, Prabhupada was sitting. So I went into the kitchen to start to prepare, and then he said, come, come, now they say they're going to land. And so there was the so-called landing. And then Prabhupada just commented, they did not go to the moon. So Purushottam, who was a servant, was indignant, but we just saw it. And Prabhupada commented, turn off the idiot box. It has just made idiots out of us.
Amazing. I think in Prabhupada, in the Leela Amrita, it took place in Tinhouse, but you're giving the truth, so. Sorry? Any other question, please? Sorry?
I think everybody wants to hear the other famous mantra,
Yeah. But one more question before we have the famous mantra. We've already all heard that joke, no? I won't tell that joke. One more question, please.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
I'll give a quick answer because we're all salivating.
Sure. Maharaj, you mentioned what Prabhupada said about medias. And I wondered, maybe you could tell us devotees how they should approach. Like, I feel like we probably never were exposed that much to media. All of us, we have these cell phones. And, could you tell us how to approach? Like, we can't keep away, definitely. But I don't know if you would like to say one more, Maharaj.
Like Prabhupada said it, turn off the idiot box. So each of us got a mobile idiot box with us now. Better to turn it off. But if you want to my opinion is that we should take Krishna's words, Bhagavad Gita, especially 16th chapter. If you want to know what's going on in the world today, read 16th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Divine and Demoniac, starting 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, up to 21, and you'll recognize that the planet is being ruled by rascals, demoniac, and so why we should trust them, why we should listen to them, except, if we're helpless what to do, but you shouldn't trust. This is my opinion. Don't trust propaganda, except Krishna's propaganda, devotees' propaganda, devotees' words. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki.